Hey Beauts, welcome back to my channel. If you are joining me for the first time ever today, my name is Khwai. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are returning subby a day one, thank you so much for your constant love and support. I promise you it does not go unnoticed. So as you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be doing an eyebrow tutorial for you Beauts. This has been one of my highly requested videos and I'm finally sitting down to do this for you Beauts. I sure hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Hit that notification bell as well so that you are notified every time I drop a video. Without further ado, let's get right into this tutorial. So let's get started with this tutorial. I'm going to start by using some pure soap to set my brows in place. What I do is I spray some setting spray on my pure soap and then use a spoolie to pick up some product. And then what I do is I go in and brush my brows up in an upwards and angled manner, right? So I start by brushing upwards in the front, and then as I move along my brow, I start angling my brush so that it's going up and out in the same direction as my brow hairs. And then in order to just set that in place, I use the back of my spoolie to just press down on my brows. This is just to make sure that they don't start lifting when you start adding product on them. This next step is really important to make sure that you're really setting those brows in place. So I pick up some of my Revolution powder in the shade Banana Deep, tap the excess off, and what I do is I just tap that all around my brow to get rid of any moisture, because once we go in with our pencil, we don't want that pencil to be just sliding over our brow, right? You want to create a bit of friction to make sure that your liner doesn't look slimy, and you're able to really get that eyebrow hair-like movement when you actually apply your pencil liner to fill your brow in, right? So we've now mattified our brows and we are ready for applying our pencil. So using the Essence Long Lasting Eye Pencil in the shade Hot Chocolate, I am gonna start by creating a line on the bottom part of my brow as well as the top part of my brow. That really will form the shape of my brow before I go in and start filling in. Okay, so I start not too close to the front, just kind of like close to the middle, and I'm really trying to be very delicate with my pencil, not pressing too hard, and I'm just creating that outline of my brow and extending my brow tail, right? So then now I go into the front very, very delicately, and I just slightly extend that line there, right? Let me just extend that a little bit more. And if you end up extending your tail too wide, or you end up making it too long, don't stress about it, because when you actually clean up your brow with concealer, you'll be able to rectify that. So then we go to the top and we're basically doing the same thing here. I'm not going to add any product at the front of my brow. I'm going to start where it looks like there's less hair, right, which is around about here for me. And I'm just gonna start moving my my pencil, and where I want to start creating that arch, I will start moving downwards and then joining at the tail, right? Okay, so I really like to have a bit of an arch on this part of my brow, so I'll go in here a few times just to make sure that I'm really getting that eyebrow that I want. Okay, so now we have the shape of the first brow. So now I go into the top, and this brow for me is the worst to do. I honestly struggle with this brow because there's a lot less hair on this side than the other side. And you really want to take your time to ensure that you're carving your brow out really, really nicely. And then I'll spend a few minutes really comparing my brows. I don't focus too much on the tail part of the brow because I can always rectify that, I can always fix it. But what I usually look at is the high parts of my brow, so the arches, making sure my arches are the same, and this one is not too, as you can see, this one is a bit higher than this one. So what I'd usually do is make this one slightly higher, or leave it and just clean it when I clean the top of my brow. But I don't know which one I actually like. I think I'm gonna leave it because I think I like this one. This one is a little bit dramatic. But yeah. Oh. Oh, what am I doing? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take an angled eyebrow brush, and I'm just gonna pick up some product on my pencil. And I'm gonna be using this brush to create the hair-like strokes on my eyebrow and fill in whatever gaps I need to be filled. And the reason why I'm not using my pencil for this is because it's got more of a round tip, and instead of creating hair-like strokes, it's just gonna really blend your whole brow in, and it's not gonna look realistic, if that's the perfect word to use. So this is just to make sure that the brow actually looks like your actual brow hairs. Because what I want to do is match this density with the density around this area, so that I don't actually have to do a lot of work here. All I need to do is just match that density. I'm also being very delicate with this part because you don't want to smudge your product in. And also you're trying also not to move your actual brow hairs too much, because you actually have set them, and your movement is really in the same direction as how you've brushed your eyebrow hairs and set them. And you don't want to move in the opposite direction, right? You want to ensure that you're moving in this direction. So then what I do is, without picking up any product, I go into the bottom and I just brush upwards. This gets rid of that harsh line at the bottom, and it really just makes it seem like your eyebrows are just seamlessly growing there. Then now I turn my angled brush and I turn it upside down, and then I just slightly create a little bit of hair in the beginning of my brow to create that gradient effect of your brow, right? But you know what, I always feel like the brow just makes or breaks a face, so I always try and spend enough time on the brow if I can. And since I'm not rushing anywhere, I can definitely spend some time on this brow, making sure that it is as close to perfect as humanly possible. Okay, Then just to really create an even more defined gradient effect, I'm going to take my spoolie and I'm just going to go into the front of my brow and brush upwards. This helps just to remove a little bit more product in that area so that there is far less product here and your brow gets darker as it gets to the end. Then what I do is I just slightly brush on the outer parts, because sometimes your brow hairs get clumped together and that's what actually creates the darkness. So if you're brushing them through, that kind of separates them so you can actually see each strand of hair. And then if need be, you go in for your final filling in process. Okay, I think I am happy, and sometimes you'll have to go in again. Being the perfectionist that I am, I often have to go back in again a lot of times, but I think I'm happy with that. I do feel like my brow is a bit square-ish, but we can always fix that. You can always fix that. Now that my brows are filled in, I'm gonna go in with the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Medium Beige, and I'm just gonna clean up the bottom part of my brow. And I'm gonna be using this flat concealer brush, pick up a little bit of product, and I start towards the arch of my brow and I go towards the tail, and that's where I clean first. This is just gonna help create a really crisp looking brow. And clean up any excess product you may have applied. Fix any mistakes you may have made. And as you can see, I'm also being very delicate with this process. And I start moving inwards. And notice that I still haven't picked up any more product. I'm still using what's left on my brush. And as I get to the front, there's less and less product on there. And what you want to do is just go to any areas where you feel like there is a lot of product sitting next to your brow, and you just want to pull down just to blend that through. Then what you're going to do is grab your beauty blender and you're just going to clean that up even further. Very lightly start blending that through, and already that's giving you such a crisp looking clean brow. Like, look at this brow compared to this one, you know. It's just always a mission with this one, but look at that. You see, now that's how you slay a brow. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is go in and clean the top part of our brow with the same shade of foundation that you used to do your face, to do your base. I use the Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade 330 to do my base. So that's what I'm gonna use to clean the top part of the brow. You really don't want to be using a product that is light or the same concealer shade that you use at the bottom at the top, because that's just gonna really just create a brow that is too, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't look good, right? It looks a bit, it makes your brow look really cakey, and you don't want that, right? So what I do is I go in with a differently shaped concealer brush. This is more of like a square shape, and I pick up very little foundation, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cleaning the tip of my brow. What I do is I first apply that product and I kind of slide my brush outward to really clean that tail and create a really sharp one, because I really like my tail to be really sharp. But as you can see, because I really did my brows nicely, there isn't a lot of cleaning up that I have to do. And that's how you want to do your brows. You want to do your brows so that you're not having to clean up too much afterwards. So that's why I pay a lot of attention to how I carve my brow out first before filling it in, etc, etc. Now as I get to the front of my brow, I'm not going to pick up any more product. I'm just going to be using whatever's on my brush. Then I go in with my beauty blender, and you just want to blend out that product that you've placed there. There won't be a lot of blending that you'll have to do anyway. This is the troublesome brow for me. So again, I start with the tail, and I'm placing the product and pushing outwards. And now I do feel like this brow is arched a bit higher than the other one, so I'm going to bring this arch down slightly. And there you have it, Beauts. That is my eyebrow routine done and dusted. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to complete my entire face so that you're able to see what my brows look like with a full face of makeup on, and I'll be right back to show you guys. So this is the final look completed, Beauts. I'm absolutely in love with this look. Like, oh my gosh, hold on. It's giving glowing. It's giving brow. Like, the brows are definitely a moment, and I'm so glad about how it turned out. I absolutely love these brows. And if you enjoyed this video, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time I drop a video. Thank you so much for joining me, Beauts, and I will see you guys in my next video.